We should be live. We are live. Hi, everyone. I'm here with Aaron. It is days before Cancon. And Aaron, you're going?
Yep. Two,
Yep.
3 days. 2 days.
Woohoo!
2 days.
Woo! Is
Saturday.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, and this is coming out Friday, I think, this video. So yeah, for everyone watching, it'll be tomorrow.
One day.
One day.
Yeah.
And and we've got 50 something players going, so it's a fairly sized tournament, I have to say. For European
Mm.
standards, that's a very big like GT thing. I guess it's also the biggest one in Australia, isn't it?
Yeah, Cancon is usually our biggest. We'll typically have usually around that sort of 60 mark. Somewhere between sort of 50 to 80 is generally the amount we'll have. This year though, they're actually running a competitive and a narrative event side by side, or an open and a narrative event.
Yeah.
So I'm actually not sure if that 51 is just the open event, and then because I think narrative had about half a dozen or a dozen or so,
Mm.
I think. So I think there might be about 60 players, but there's a bunch playing narrative.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the 50 odd players that we have the stats for right now, Ian, the TO, has released some of the stats, and we're going to look at those, and we're also going to check out Aaron's list, and he's going to talk us through it. But before we do that, let's just share with the people sort of the rough idea what the actual pack is. So I downloaded a bunch of stuff. So basically, like it's 1100 points, 18 order dice cap, and you can't duplicate platoons except rifle platoons, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um, for you, when you sat down with that pack, what were your first thoughts about this? What did you think? Like,
I like it. I like the pack. I mean, it's pretty open, right? Like the only cap we've really got is on order dice, and the fact that you can't duplicate platoons is, I mean, having an 18 order dice cap and a no duplicate platoon restriction, they kind of
yep,
cancel each other out, kind of thing, anyway. Because
yeah,
if you're doubling up or getting all these extra platoons, you're probably going to be needing more dice to even do it in the first place. But yeah, I mean, it's good. The reason I know some people are not as keen on dice caps,
mm,
especially in competitive. But in my opinion, I actually don't mind it. And one thing I don't mind about it as well is if you know that the 18 is going to be the max, it means you can actually funnel some points into some more punchy stuff,
yeah,
and roll out with, say, 14 dice even, if you
yep,
really wanted to get brave,
yeah,
and it's not a problem. I mean,
yeah.
14 versus 18 is barely much to really worry about. So there is that as well. It just mixes things up a little bit, but
Mm,
yeah, no restrictions. So, which is interesting because most of the events have restrictions of some kind, right? You know,
yep,
of something, whether it's flamethrowers or multi-launchers or armor sevens or whatever. I don't
yeah.
know. So
But
this is probably even more open than
as
WT.
soon as you're into no duplicate, that does create some of that restriction, right? Because yeah, you
Yeah.
can take a full artillery platoon of Nebelwerfers, but I mean, you can only take one, and then how good is that? I'm not sure. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, for sure. Well, I do know someone that's got, I think they end up taking 4 howling cows or something.
Ouch.
Um, but yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, you could take 5 snipers in 5 rifle
You could.
platoons if you
You
really
could.
wanted, I suppose.
I don't know why you would though, but you could. Yeah. Um, but 18 order cap for me maybe a little low. I sort of feel like you do that. I don't mind the order caps. It's just a question of how much do we allow small units to be a deciding factor in order dice. And for me, if you go down to 18 order dice, that's fairly low. I would say 20, but I'm
Mm,
two-faced. Personally, I attended a tournament this weekend where I had 17 order dice and the order dice cap was 20. So I completely agree. You can absolutely go lower than the order dice cap and still do well. It's not, you're not fixed on that point alone.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Right. And then I just wanted also, before we turn and look at your list, I wanted to talk through the different scenarios. So you guys are playing key positions, long edge deployment, meeting engagement type. So that's first wave. Supply drop, that's where the objectives are dropped right at some point.
Hmm.
Sorry? Yeah?
Yep. At random.
At random, exactly. And then we have search and destroy, so that's kill points in quarters. Again, with prepared positions, so dice in bag here. We have penetrating strike, which is basically the old double envelopment. And then jump
Mm.
to action, which I can't say I remember. Have you read that one?
Yes, I've played it a number of times. I
Yeah.
don't mind it actually.
What
It's a pretty balanced mission.
what's it all about?
So you have 5 objectives. One
Mm,
is in the very dead center of the table. Another one is, so if, let's just say the screen is the
mm,
table, and this is my side.
mm,
You have one in the dead center, one basically middle line dead center left, one middle line dead center right, one middle line
mm.
there between middle and half, their
Yeah.
side middle and half here, boom, 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 5. And you get, I think it's 2 points or 3 points per objective that you're holding at the end of the game, and then 1
Okay.
point for every kill.
So it's a sort of a variation of key positions, basically. But
Except
kill
they're
points
all
could
set.
be very important, though, if you get 1 point per kill and 2 per objective. So that could
Hmm.
swing the balance.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that was the first thing I wanted to show you guys. Then we also have your list somewhere, if I can find it. I'll just stop sharing for a minute and look for the list here. So while I do that, could you talk us through what were your thoughts when you sat down, decided to, I'm going to make a list?
Well, usually I'd put a bit more thought into it. But this time around, uh, being my first V3 tournament, and also caveat, I've only played 1.5 games of actual V3.
Mm.
Um, I have played about 9 or 10 games of V3 in my head though, which
Haven't
is
we
is
all?
is enough in my opinion. Yeah, and that's all I really need, I think. Um, but this is really just a mishmash of what I've got. I have bought purchased a few new things, but I didn't really have a full. I actually ordered a whole new US army, but it
Mm.
hasn't arrived in time. It arrived the other day, and there was no way I was going to be able to paint it all up in time. It's just
No.
not going to be possible painting a whole army in like a matter of days. I'm working a week, so it's really a bit of what I have used before, and then added in a few extra elements as well. So
Mm.
it's stuff I'm semi familiar with, but I'm also basing it. It's Italian, so front in Italy. Sorry.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a
So you have an actual like theater front that's actually inspiring the list as well.
yeah, it's all stuff that you would have found in the Italy theatre
Mm.
for the Brits. Staghound AA is where I've never used one before, but I bought it, which you'll see. But yeah, that was where it was most commonly used. But yeah, so a little bit of historical flavour to it. But I also, yeah, it's just something that I think I'm comfortable with. I'm familiar with. I know how to use all these elements. I know what it all does.
Yeah.
And for me, playing V3 for the first time, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be a fun way to do it. But I think, yeah, so that's probably all I really did. It's like, oh, what can I play that I actually can field right now legally?
Mm.
This is
I
it.
noticed immediately that you're at the 18 order dice limit. Was that deliberate? Um,
I toed and froed. I think I put one together where it was 16, one at 17, and one at 18.
mm.
So,
Yep.
um, yeah, yeah,
And then you got a platoon commander with 2 extra dudes, so getting a lot of submachine guns into the army here. Regulars. I wouldn't do that, but I am not one to correct you, Aaron, because your history with this is way better than mine. So you like the regular ones here just because it's a small extra infantry unit?
Hmm. Yeah. Look, yeah, it's true. I'll be honest, I don't really see anyone doing this, but I think it will work. I
Mm,
didn't. I did it at times in V2. I would
yep.
sometimes have two guys.
Mm,
The reason why it was two guys then is because obviously small team, right?
yep.
I didn't really feel like, missing out on the initial benefit. An officer team used to be able to go down at point blank with
Yep.
two guys and survive if
Yep.
they were in hard cover. That's not happening anymore. But three, they might survive a volley. In my test game, they did. But this is more importantly, I do have some reasons for doing this, which I'd probably be more happy to disclose after WTC. I noticed
Yep.
in all the WoW lists, no one did this at all.
Yep.
I have a reason for it,
Mm.
and I'll be continuing to roll out with these. And but yes, I think they'll be quite effective. But yeah, look,
Yep.
yep, I'm happy to do it. Look, I toed and froed. I actually had them veteran originally,
Yep.
so three
And
veteran
then
guys, which is
And then we've got five veteran paratroopers here. These guys are really good, and they can jump out of your transport and obliterate something. 10 shots at point blank should be devastating. The infantry, I'm guessing, is just for you to have in the back lines and take objectives. Inexperienced artillery observer.
yeah, yep. I
Yep.
love having stuff. I love having a bit of cannon fodder.
Yeah.
So
Me as
that full
well.
squad is my cannon fodder, unfortunately. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The artillery observer, I think you'll enjoy that. I have.
Hmm.
It's really good. Although it works, I found that it works so differently from version two. In version two, I would use it as a preparation for a charge, basically. Now
Hmm.
I don't do that. I more use it to make my enemy waste turns. Um,
Mm.
because one turn where he's pinned or needs to rally or like fails an auto test even better. So yeah, that's what I use mine for anyway now. Um,
Mm. Okay.
and
Yeah.
double shot is just brilliant. Really good.
Yeah. Okay.
The
Yeah.
anti-tank rifles, love those.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Mm?
right. I'm hearing mixed results from some people. Some people, it was like that in V2, right? A lot of people
Yeah.
didn't like them.
Yeah, for
Um,
me, I really like them now, especially if you can actually push up into a point where you're in point blank of enemy tanks, get that +1 penetration. Damn, that's
hmm.
good. Yeah, and you've
Yep.
got Jeep to take them in from the outflank, or for your officer team or whatever. The light truck
Yeah.
also really good. They died really easily though. These soft-skinned.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, most of the time, it doesn't have a gun, so I found people used to like to shoot at them a bit more in V2, especially
Mm,
because they had an MMG with 5 shots, and once it's
yep.
up close, it actually could do something. This
Mm,
truck, it poses really no threat, right?
yep.
Other than maybe a victory point.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe, who knows? People might target it, they might not. I don't know. I'm not too worried about it, but
And then
yes.
the Stackhound AA,
Hmm.
double HMGs paired and then forward-facing MMG. I,
Mm,
I really like this little car here. It's 8
cool.
plus. It's got recce. It's open top though, which yeah, that sucks. But I mean, those two HMGs, that 6 shots HMGs +1 penetration. Yeah,
Mm,
that can be
yeah,
deadly.
I think so. Also, the 8 armor is very handy.
Yeah.
The games I sort of I used a proxy model
Mm,
for it, but in the game I played, it took half a the opponent's fire in a turn and just sat there
yeah.
taking pins. It was fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the 8 armor, sometimes you can decide not to recce, right? Like it's like they're shooting at you with a HMG. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
They're shooting it with a anti-tank rifle. All right. I shot it with an autocannon by our heavy autocannon, an M16, M15.
Yep.
I just sat there and took it like a champ. So
Brilliant.
like you can sort of take a few more risks with an armor 8 as opposed to the armor 7s. So that actually comes in handy. And at 125, it's pretty cheap for an armor 8.
It is.
So
it is.
I don't mind it.
And because it's the command vehicle, then it's pretty easy to still get it moving, even though you do take pins. So I like that. And a Humber? Oh, I love my Humbers. They are just so great.
Yep.
And then 2 F1 Recce's. 45 points.
Yeah, I use plenty of them in V2. I also use Humber nearly every time I play Brits. But look, I've heard most people saying that soft skins are no good, can't use them anymore. But happy to prove that theory wrong. I think at 45 points they're still useful, and I would still take even the German motorcycle at 40 points. It's got 4 shots. Being German, like it's still useful. I mean, I wouldn't be buying probably 100 of them, but like it still can be useful. It's still got a job it could potentially fulfill. And the soft skin part, like there's ways to mitigate that potential risk. So,
especially when you've got recce, that helps as well. So you can at least manage the risk. And then a heavy weapons platoon here. Double heavy mortars and spotters. Love them. Damn, they hurt when they hit. Oh man.
Yeah.
That is.
Sorry.
Yep. No, you go.
Yeah. No. It's exactly. I mean, I started using heavy mortars towards the end of V2 more frequently than medium. Obviously the allure with the medium is just how cheap it is now. Being 45 points, it's so cheap. But I just thought look, these have a part to play.
Oops, I think we just lost Aaron for a sec there. I think he is off. Just a sec, I'll try to get him back on, and while I do that, we can just view the rest of his list here. Just a sec. No, that's not it. There we go. Right. Anyhow, let's just view through the rest of his list, and we'll see if we can get him back online at some point here. Where did I put the list now? Yeah, he'll get back in a sec. I will just recap. Oh, there we go again. Sorry, you ended up dropping out for a sec there.
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know where we're up to. How do you want to do this?
We were still going over the list here, so let's finish that.
Mortars. The main reason why I got the heavies is just for a bit more anti-armor. Because armored platoons are very popular at the moment. So, and Brits kind of struggle.
They do.
They just don't have the, as much access to useful anti-armor like the Russians do. The Soviets have got plenty of it. Germans more than they can possibly want. But Americans and Brits struggle a little bit. Even some of the miners have better anti-armor than the Brits and the Americans. So
Yeah.
yes, that's what that is for.
And then Recce Platoon.
Hmm.
And I'm guessing this is because of the cheap access to forward artillery observers.
No, it's not.
No.
Because
Okay.
if I wanted
Talk us through it
cheap
then.
access, well, if I wanted cheap access for a forward observer, I would get a second rifle platoon because it'd be a bit cheaper. It'd be an easier way to do that, I think. The main reason why I've got this is for the transport, the recce transport, the M3 White Scout car. So
Right. Yeah.
yes, yeah, no, M3 White Scout car.
Mm.
That's what I've got it there for. So it's 78 points, which
Mm.
is kind of expensive, I guess.
Well, it's still nice. It's an extra. It's an extra armored fighting vehicle, basically, right?
Mhm.
With the guys inside, and possibly, I think you should. Oh, you're gonna do this. I know you're gonna do this. You're gonna put one of your officers in it,
Mm.
along with a paratroop section, so that you've got double groups just jumping out, maybe even snap toing the car, and then the section getting it
Mhm.
all in one go,
Yeah.
which is a really nice little trick. It's an SMG bomb you'll throw in someone's face.
Yeah, pretty much. I did it actually in one of the practice games.
Hmm?
Or in my what am I talking about? One of my practice games. I've played 1.5 games, but in in the game I played, and the scout car took out a SU-76. Oh, sorry, yeah,
Ouch!
76I or whatever
Ouch!
it is.
Oh.
Yeah, SU-76, I think it's called. Yeah, SU-76I, the one with the closed top.
Hmm.
Yeah, and jumped one out, and the paras jumped out at the exact same time and
Hmm.
hosed down a 7-man scout squad, Soviet scout squad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So
Yeah. So that's the list. I like
I
it.
like it.
I really like the list. Yeah. There's a
Okay,
lot
well, that's
of
good.
power in it. A lot of power. The only thing I would be doubtful of is the amount of armored fighting vehicles. But you do have three, but two of them are open topped. But we shall
Mhm.
see. We shall see what you run into at Cancun. Yeah. So earlier today, the TOs released a bunch of stats, and I thought we might look over those as well here. So right now they have 51 lists in. The average order dice is 15.1. The average number of platoons is almost 3. Um, so pretty much what we talked about here, that a lot of people going below the 18 order dice. Um, for me, that says that some people are bringing heavier tanks or larger veteran squads or something that's expensive anyway. What do you make of this?
Yeah, you can get away with doing it, right?
Mm,
It's not so, like, we all know that having less dice isn't a problem in a lot of missions, but there
mm,
are some missions where it can be a problem. Like, you can have a 15 auto dice list and someone has 24. In a kill points mission, whoop-de-doo.
mm.
Like, the 15 dice has probably got the advantage.
Yeah,
Um, but missions that require like movement or scoring, getting off table or ending in zones, or even missions where you've got to sort of spread out and cover more territory, that
yeah,
can be a problem. So it really depends. But look, obviously there's people that are going with 15. It's like,
mm,
well, really matter. A
yeah,
2 or 3 dice difference is almost
mm,
irrelevant in any
mm,
type of mission. So yeah,
yeah,
you're right. I think they're spending more money on some probably heavier stuff. So, or maybe more of that, 120 to 150 point range units,
yeah,
as opposed to the big 2, 3, 4, 500 point units. They
yeah,
probably just spend more in that sort of
yeah.
100 to 150 zone.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm not predicting many king tigers or mouses, but
M-
I agree.
ma-
In the 200 point zone, I think you'll see some at least. Um,
Yeah.
9 lists have a company commander. I think these company commanders are really good, but you need the right sort of combination of units to bring along with
Hmm.
them. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, well, everyone's sort of saying that they're. Look, I haven't taken one in the game I've played, and I don't have
Mm,
one now, obviously, but I don't think I need it
no.
with the type of army I'm playing. But
Yeah.
I can see as the sorts of armies where I would probably opt for them,
Mm,
and I think they could be super useful. One that comes to mind is an army like Japan.
mm.
Uh, if I was playing Japanese, I would probably, look at getting a company commander. I think
Yeah.
any infantry heavy lists, I think company commanders would work really well with them.
For me, it's
Uh,
the artillery heavy lists. As soon as I see an artillery
mm.
platoon, I feel like, ooh, I want a company commander to snap to all of those big guns in one go. But yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
Only 2 lists have double observers, which is low, but not
Yeah.
massively so. And then we have the spread here. This is pretty much what we always see. Not a lot of minor nations, but a big chunk of Germans, a good chunk of Soviets, Americans, Brits, Italy. 4 people are bringing Italy, which
Mm.
maybe a little surprising.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, they don't have as you know, all the minor nations, apart from maybe Finland, they
Mm,
didn't get a lot right. Like
no,
they're still
yeah,
waiting. They're going to be
yeah,
waiting before they get all their fluff and flavor, and
yeah,
you know. But Italy didn't do too bad. They're with they've got available at the moment.
yeah.
Similar to Finns. So I can see why they do appeal. We have some players who play Italy on the reg here in Australia.
Mm.
So I think I know at least 2 or 3 of those Italian players. Um, I am actually on the fence. I will potentially be playing Italy at the WTC
Ooh,
as well. So I would happily side with those people that are those 4 players. So I think they're onto something.
okay. And
Yeah.
then here we can see the spread of order dice. We can see that there's sort of a peak once we reach the 18 order dice, which is, the people who always were going to go 18 or higher. But then most people hit that Goldilocks zone of 15 order dice. For me, that's a little low, but maybe that's the
Mm,
European meta talking here. Um,
mm.
one person bringing 10 order dice, that's low. Oh, that is very low.
He's the person with the king tiger.
He's the person with the King Tiger, yeah. Um,
Yeah,
I know you always want them to do well, but some missions they'll struggle just because
it's
of order
hard.
dice out the bag, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like, how do if you've got like, there's a mission, that penetrating strike, where
Mm,
you're basically scoring by ending up on the other side of
yeah.
the board, right? And if someone's got 20 units, you don't need to kill the person's units that have 10. You just need to wait till the game ends and throw your units at the end of
Yeah.
the board and you win.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a bit rough in those scenarios for sure.
Yeah, it is. It is. And then we have the platoon structure here. So for the people bringing 2 platoons, a lot of them are bringing a rifle platoon and then an armored platoon.
Mm,
That's the most common thing, and I mean that I think would be expected with how good tank platoons were in version 2. I think in this version 3, it's a no-brainer bringing an armored platoon as your second platoon here.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
And if we look at people bringing 3 platoons, then
Mhm.
again, armor is everywhere. Armor
Mm,
and heavy platoon is very common. That's the combination I most often use myself. But
okay.
uh, armor and artillery is also common, or artillery and heavy is common. So yeah,
Mm. Yeah, armor everywhere, eh?
yeah.
It'd be almost. I wonder how many people don't have armored platoons.
Well, some do because we have at least 7 people here who have 3 platoons who don't bring an armor platoon. We've got 1, 2 extra here,
Uh,
so that's 9 people. And then if we go in and look at people
mm,
bringing 4 platoons, everyone's bringing armor here.
yep.
So 9 people, 9 out of 51 are not bringing any armor at all. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
Mm,
yeah, it's low.
interesting.
Everyone brings armor. It's just a thing. Yeah.
Seems to be.
Yeah. So that is the stats. Aaron, good luck this weekend. This is going to be interesting,
Thanks.
isn't it? The first major
Yeah.
V3 tournament, and you not actually competent yet in V3.
I've read the book.
Cool.
Oh, look, I mean, yeah, in a way, the game has changed a fair bit,
Yeah.
but in a way, it still hasn't.
Yeah.
Um, like, yeah, it has, but it hasn't. There's a few different little nuances and stuff as well,
Mm,
but yeah, I think it'll be fun. It'll be fun,
it will. It
no
will.
doubt. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Please let us know how it went, and good luck this weekend.
Appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Right. That's it from us today. Good luck to everyone going to Cancun, and yeah, Aaron, we'll see you there. Cheers.
See ya.